Good morning to all of you. Today the topic is stream entry is possible for laypersons. In the Buddha's teachings, the aim of Buddhist practice is to end suffering. And there's only one path the Buddha taught. That's the Aryan Eightfold Path. And as we practice that path, we attain stages of liberation. And these stages of liberation are called paths and fruits. And there are 8 paths and fruits. First path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. Only the fourth fruit attainer is fully liberated. The others are all partial liberation. So the lowest is the first path. And the first path is also called stream entry. In the suttas, the Buddha said the stream refers to the Aryan Eightfold Path. So when you enter the Aryan Eightfold Path, you attain stream entry. You become the lowest Arya. This lowest Arya is attained when you attain the first factor of the Aryan Eightfold Path. In the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 117, Mahachacharisaka Sutta, it is said that to practice the Aryan Eightfold Path, you have to start with right view. You can only start with right view. And right view, according to that sutta, will bring you to right thoughts. And then after that will bring you to right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These are the 8 factors of the Aryan Eightfold Path. So, how do you get right view? This is elaborated more fully in the 7 Bojjhangas. Suttas on the 7 Bojjhangas are found in the Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 46, Bojjhanga Samyutta. And there it is said that to practice the Bojjhangas, by the way, the 7 Bojjhangas are the 7 factors of enlightenment. They are quite similar to the Aryan Eightfold Path. It is said in the suttas that you practice the Aryan Eightfold Path fully, you will completely destroy suffering. This also said, the same thing is said of the 7 Bojjhangas. So the difference between the two is the emphasis on different factors. In the Bojjhangas, the first factor is sati, mindfulness. The second factor is Dhamma Vichaya, investigation of the Dhamma. The third is effort. And then the fourth is piti, delight, which is synonymous with the first jhana. And then the fifth is passaddhi, tranquility, which is synonymous with the second jhana. The sixth Bojjhanga is samadhi, concentration, which is synonymous with the third jhana. The 7th Bojjhanga is upekkha, equanimity, which is synonymous with the 4th jhana. So the last four factors of the 7 Bojjhangas are synonymous with the 4 jhanas. And the 4 jhanas refer to Samma Samadhi, the last factor of the Aryan Eightfold Path. Now, to get right view, which is synonymous with stream entry, the lowest Arya, the Aryan Eightfold Path, it is not explained in the chapter on the Aryan Eightfold Path. The Aryan Eightfold Path, the suttas on the Aryan Eightfold Path are found in the Magga Sangyutta Nikaya, chapter 45. Many suttas there. But they don't exactly tell you how to get right view. But in the Bojjhangas, the first two factors tell you how to get right view. In the first Bojjhanga, it is said that to practice sati, you must draw near Arya or a Sappurisa. An Arya is one of the what we call holy men in Buddhism, and that refers to the 8 Arya, 4 paths and 4 fruits. A Sappurisa is called a true man. A Sappurisa is one who knows the true Dhamma, Saddhamma. Sappurisa knows Saddhamma. So they are quite synonymous. So in the practice of the first Bojjhanga Sati, they said you draw near Arya or a Sappurisa. But some other suttas explain when you draw near such a person, a monk or a nun, first you have to examine him or her, whether that person, is it possible that this person is an Arya? So how do you do that? First, you see whether he has the 3 characteristics, the Sila, Samadhi, Panya, whether he keeps his precepts, whether he has a calm mind because of Samadhi, and thirdly, whether he has wisdom. Also, you have to see whether he has greed, hatred and delusion. If he has strong greed, hatred and delusion, it's not possible that he could be an Arya. But sometimes lay people are not very familiar. So sometimes they judge a monk by some minor precepts. Minor precepts are not important because in the suttas, the Buddha said even an Arya can break the minor precepts. In the Vinaya, a monk has 227 precepts. The first class is the Parajikas, defeats. If he breaks any of these 4 Parajikas, defeats, is no longer considered a monk. And then after that is the 13 Sangha-disesa. These 2 classes of offense are considered major, heavy offenses. The rest are all considered minor. So for example, in the precepts, a monk is not supposed to cut grass, cut trees and all that. But this is a minor precept. Originally, the Buddha did not make this precept. And then later he made this precept because in India at that time, a lot of people thought that plants are living beings. We have 6 faculties, 6 senses. The plant is considered a 1 sense, 1 faculty, living being. Especially by this external ascetic called the Jains, at that time also called Nigantas. They practice compassion a little overboard. So they are not only vegetarians, but they don't eat green veggie, fresh fruit, because they say it still contains life. They wait until the veggie has turned yellow, and then only allowed to eat. I learned this from a father-in-law of a good friend of mine. He was a doctor and in India. One day he was called to a house to examine a sick lady. It was a rich house, wealthy family. When he examined this lady, he found that she was suffering from malnutrition. So he asked the son, "What does your mother eat?" The son said, "We are vegetarians." Then he thought, there are many vegetarians who are not suffering from malnutrition. So he asked the son, what exactly does your mother eat? So the son went to the kitchen, brought back some vegetables which were already yellow. He said, "Our religion does not forbid us, forbids us from taking fresh veggie and all that." So They also are probably vegans, don't take milk and all that. So that's how, because of that kind of thinking, so because of that type of thinking, so the Buddha made this precept that a monk should not cut branches and all that. So if you see a monk cutting branches and all that, don't say you broke the precept. When we started our monastery, the grass was like 2-3 feet tall everywhere. A lot of snakes around. And when we started our monastery, nobody knows the monk there. So we had very little support. So we had to cut grass, otherwise the snakes are all around. King Cobra also came. So minor precepts are not so important. So in the practice of sati, in the Bojjhangas, the Buddha said, after you draw near a monk and you think he's worthy of respect, then you show respect to him. And after you show respect to him, he'll be willing to teach you the Dhamma. And if you're lucky to meet a Sapurisa or an Arya, he'll teach you the true Dhamma. And then after you listen to the true Dhamma, you have to think it over, reflect on it, to remember it. During the Buddha's days, they had no books. So when a person hears the Dhamma or the suttas, the discourse of the Buddha, he has to memorize it, repeat it again and again. Otherwise, you forget very easily. So that was what they used to do every day, keep repeating the suttas. Nowadays, we have books, we have CDs, we have SD cards and all that. It's much easier. You just listen to it every day. So, you see from here, sati in the Bojjhanga is contemplation of the Buddha's Dhamma, the true Dhamma, which refers to original discourses of the Buddha found in the 5 Nikayas. Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Sangyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and Khuddaka Nikaya. In the Aryan Eightfold Path, when you talk about sati, the Buddha says Sammasati is to contemplate 4 objects. Sin and Chu, 4 objects. The body, feelings, mind, and Dhamma. And sometimes certain books, they translate Dhamma as phenomena. Mind object. You see from the Bojjhanga, it is not mind object. It is Dhamma refers to the Buddha's teachings, the original Buddha's teachings. Because out of these 4 objects of sati, actually the most important is Dhamma. When you contemplate Dhamma, you can attain the various stages of paths and fruits. There's a sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya which says a person attains liberation or arahanthood under 5 conditions or 5 occasions. One, he listens to the Dhamma and he understands and he attains liberation. The second one, when he's teaching the Dhamma, because when he's teaching the Dhamma, he has to reflect on the Dhamma, understand it before he can teach. So because of the understanding, he attains enlightenment. The third, when he's repeating the Dhamma. In those days, they repeat the Dhamma in their own language. So they keep on repeating, they will remember and they will understand. That is the third occasion. The fourth is when they reflect on the Dhamma. Having heard the Dhamma, you think about it, investigate it, etc. The fifth is during meditation. So out of these 5 occasions, you find that 4 has to do with the Dhamma. That's why the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, is so important. So that's why sati in the Bojjhangas as a factor of enlightenment refers to the Buddha's discourses. So we find in the suttas and the Vinaya books, many people, they come to the Buddha for the first time. And the Buddha taught them the 4 Aryan truths, the basic principles of the 4 Aryan truths, to make them see anicca, impermanence. suffering, dukkha, and anatta, non-self, or no self. So if a person is intelligent, and when he listens to the Dhamma with attention, he can understand. When he can understand, he gets what is known as Dhamma Chakku, vision of the Dhamma, Fa Yen, seeing the Dhamma. And that is synonymous with stream entry. Once you get an understanding of the Dhamma, the basic understanding of the Four Noble Truths, you have attained the vision of the Dhamma, and that is the first path. So, that is how a person attains right view. This is also confirmed by Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 43, where it is said that there are two main conditions to attain right view and stream entry. One is the voice of another. The second condition is yoniso manasikara. The voice of another means the voice of another teaching you the true Dhamma. And the second condition, yoniso manasikara, is focused attention. Sometimes they translate it in Chinese as 如理摄维. It's not an exact translation. It's more like focused attention. Why? Because it is stated in the Samyutta Nikaya Sutta 46.38. When a monk listens to the Dhamma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, directing his whole mind to it, on that occasion the 5 hindrances are not present in him, and the 7 bojjhanga go to fulfillment. So you see, you have to listen to the Dhamma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, directing the whole mind to it. Only under these conditions, the 5 hindrances are not present, and the 7 bojjhanga go to fulfillment, which shows these are the conditions for stream entry. That's why I say yoniso manasikara is focused attention. Sometimes they translate it different ways. There's another sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya 55.55. It also talks about the conditions for stream entry. But instead of 2, here it says there are 4 conditions for stream entry. The first one is association with the true man, sappurisa. The second one is listening to the true Dhamma. The third is focused attention. The fourth is Dhammanuddhamma patipatti, practice of the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. So as you learn the Dhamma, what you understand, you put into practice. But at that stage, the most important to get right view is to listen to the Dhamma and then think it over. Just now I forgot to mention the second bojjhanga is Dhamma Vichaya, investigation of the Dhamma. Because some people are not so sharp. When they listen to the Dhamma the first time, they don't catch it. And some people very sharp, just like you crack a subtle joke, immediately he laughs. And some people have to think some time, then ha ha ha. Some people have to go back at night and then ha ha ha. So for some people it takes longer. That's why the Buddha says that the second bojjhanga is Dhamma Vichaya. Dhamma Vichaya is investigation of the Dhamma. After you have heard the Dhamma, you reflect on it, you investigate it. See whether it's true or not, whether you can see in everyday life. When I started on Buddhism, I found it was very difficult to understand, very deep. Because before that, I investigated all the major religions in the world. And other religions are very simple. Just believe. Just believe in the Creator. And don't ask too many questions. Have faith, have faith. So, Buddhism is different. No? Buddhism, you are asked to investigate, think about it. Don't accept just because the Buddha said so. Don't accept just because some monk said so. So when I studied the 5 destinations of rebirth, a bit frightening. Can be reborn as a ghost, as an animal and go to hell if you are not careful. Also it talks about anicca, dukkha and anatta. Life is suffering. So when you are young, you don't see suffering, isn't it? When we are young, we enjoy. But as I worked, when I was in Kuantan, I saw 5 people dying. I mentioned that yesterday here. If you go to my Dhamma talks, in the YouTube, etc., you will know. So as I saw one by one people dying in front of me, then I realized it's so true. Life is so unstable. You think we are 80 years old, only we die. I see young people, middle of life, suddenly dying. The worst I saw was an accident. I was coming back to Kuala Lumpur for a meeting along somewhere Mentakap there. The road was winding. I was trying to overtake a trailer, a long lorry. It was very difficult because the road was winding. So I kept very close to him, trying to overtake. Suddenly I saw a motorcycle come around the corner from the opposite direction, and there was a rock in the middle of the road. This guy hit the rock, fell in front of the lorry. The lorry knocked into him directly. I saw him fall down. I stopped the car, ran towards him. Thought I want to help him. The concussion was so great, the helmet fell off. The top of his skull opened up like a tin can, our skull is many parts. So the top opened up and I could see the white brain. And very soon the white brain turned red and the blood started to ooze out. And this guy was twitching like a dying rat. He cannot do anything. It's too late. Already damaged the brain. So I stood there and chanted for him. At that time I was a Mahayanist, Tapecho. So chanted until he died. I forgot about the lorry man. The lorry man drove off. Then I remember, I didn't write down the number also. So you see, seeing this kind of things right in front of you, then you see it's true. What the Buddha said, a person never expect to die that way. Yeah. So that's why we have to see whether it's true or not. Also, there is a sutta where the Buddha says that when we listen to the Dhamma, we have to investigate it properly. And the reason is that in the Dhamma, there are innumerable nuances, innumerable details, innumerable implications. It means there are many different shades of meaning. There are many details. There are many hidden meanings. So you find sometimes when we listen to the Dhamma, we catch certain points. For example, we listen to one sutta, we catch a number of points. When we listen to a second time, we find we catch more points. And then we wonder, how come first time I read, I didn't notice this. When you listen to the same sutta the third time, you'll be surprised. There's still other things you didn't notice before, and then suddenly you notice. That's why we have to keep listening to the suttas again and again and again, until we pass away, or until we become enlightened. So, that is investigation of Dhamma. So, there are some people, they take a longer time, study the sutta, year after year, reflect on it and all that. And then when you understand, you attain stream entry. So, just now I mentioned the 4 conditions for stream entry, Sotapatti Yangani. The 4 conditions: association with the true man, listening to the true Dhamma, focus attention, and practice of the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. In the same sutta, in another sutta, 55.40, the Buddha said, if these 4 conditions for stream entry are completely and totally absent in a person, that person is not a follower of the Buddha, not a Buddhist. He is a follower of an external sect follower, Bahiro. So you see here, if you don't listen to the Buddha suttas, you don't have these four conditions for stream entry, you're not even a Buddhist. There are many people come into Buddhism and then they get caught up with meditation. Meditate, but don't want to listen to the Buddha Suttas. In that case, the Buddha says you are not his disciple, you are not his follower. The Buddha calls his followers, whether monks or nuns or laymen or laywomen, all are called savaka. All are called savaka. Hearers or listeners. So only if you listen to the Buddha's words and understand, then you are a Buddhist, because if you understand, you have unshakable faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. You never change your religion. There are many people come into Buddhism, happy, do dana, join the crowd, everything. After a few years, no more Buddhists, change their religion. Because they don't have the foundation. The foundation is listening to the Buddha's words. And then if you don't listen to the Buddha's words and you just meditate, also can be dangerous. Some of the Buddha's disciples, even when the Buddha was around, they were not very interested in the Dhamma. Some of them just want to meditate. That's why there's one sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya that the Buddha scolded one monk. He said, I notice every time I teach the Dhamma, you're not paying attention. So the same thing happened with Devadatta. Devadatta was one of the monk disciples of the Buddha who was only interested in meditation. So he meditated so much that he attained the psychic powers. And because he attained his psychic powers, he started to show his psychic powers. And then the prince Ajatasattu became very impressed with him, had total faith in him. And every day was offering him 500 dishes for his meal. Every day, got his servants and slaves and all that to cook so much for this Devadatta. When the Buddha heard about it, the Buddha said, that foolish man, accepting all this so much dana. So because of that, his ego become bigger. Even the prince also so respect me, I'm so famous. So when the Buddha was quite old, when all the monks were gathered, he told the Buddha, I said, Bhagawa, you are already so old. Come down, step down. Let me take your place. Let me lead the Sangha. The Buddha scolded him in front of all the monks. Scolded him so strongly, that he got a grudge against the Buddha, wanted to kill the Buddha. So he planned how to kill the Buddha. He tried several ways. So you see, if you don't have right view, you just meditate, you can go the wrong way. They call it in Indonesia, jalan sesat. Leaving way, So that's why the Buddha said, you don't have these four conditions for stream entry. You are not even a Buddhist. Now, when some people, when they hear that I say stream entry, by the way, once you attain stream entry, right view, in a few years' time, it will turn to fruit, sotapanna. And Sutta says you have to continue practicing these four conditions. That means association with the true man, listening to the true Dhamma, having focused attention, and then practice of the Dhamma as you understand it. Then the path, first path attainment will turn to fruit. At the latest, before that person dies. But it takes some time, it takes a few years for that wisdom to mature. When it matures, it turns to fruit, and three factors fall away. Sakaya Ditti, Vicikicca, doubt, and Silabhata Paramasa, attachment to precepts and observances. So when the wisdom matures, that person becomes a sotapanna. Later books say, like Abhidhamma, they say once you attain path, the next conscious moment it becomes fruit. That is not true according to the suttas. If a person, once he attains path, and the next moment next conscious moment becomes fruit, that means you won't be able to do dana to a path attainer. Yeah? Because before you can say hello, you already turn into a fruit already. Yeah? So you can only do dana to fruit attainers, but that is not so. In the suttas, the Buddha says that you can do dana to a first path attainer, first fruit attainer, second path, second fruit, etc. That's why if you're not familiar with the suttas, you don't catch the contradictions. Very important to be familiar with all the suttas. Some monks, when they hear I say that stream entry can be attained just by listening to the Dhamma, they are not happy. They say, how can? They say, you must meditate. They say, Buddha's time is different. Buddha got psychic power, Buddha speak, can make people understand. It's not necessarily true. Because, first I tell you about how it's not so difficult to attain stream entry. In the Sarakani Sutta, in Samyutta Nikaya 55.24, there was a Sakyan by the name of Sarakani who passed away. After he had passed away, people came to ask the Buddha, where has Sarakani gone for rebirth? So the Buddha said, oh, Sarakani has gone for a good rebirth because he's a Sotapanna, first fruit attainer. So the news spread. When the news came to some people's ears, they were not happy. They say, this Sarakani, he often drinks liquor. He can 5 precepts also cannot keep. How can he be a Sotapanna? If he can be a Sotapanna, we are all Sotapanna already because we don't drink. So the news came back to the Buddha, and the Buddha said, why can't Sarakani be a Sotapanna? He has taken refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha for a long time. In other words, he has listened to the Buddha teaching for a long time. And then the Buddha said something quite surprising. The Buddha said, look at those trees. Don't talk about Sarakani. Look at those trees. If I were to teach Dhamma to those trees, and they can understand what I say, even the trees can become Sotapanna. Why not Sarakani? So you see, the Buddha emphasized that if the trees can understand his words, understand his Dhamma, they can become Sotapanna. The Buddha did not say, if I taught the trees meditation, they can become Sotapanna. Yeah? So it shows very clearly, it is by listening to the Buddha and understanding his words that you become a Sotapanna. Yeah? So that is the Sarakani Sutta. Another one in the Vinaya books. Devadatta schemed to kill the Buddha. So he asked the Prince Ajatasattu to give him some men to do some work. And the Prince Ajatasattu called quite a number of people and told them, whatever this Bhante wants you to do, you just do it. So Devadatta called the first man and told him, you go to the forest in such and such a place, you can find Samana Gotama. You go and kill him and come back by this road. Then after this man had left, he asked 2 men to wait for this man to come back and kill him and come back by another road. Then he asked 4 to kill the 2, asked 8 to kill the 4, asked 16 to kill the 8, so there's no trace, no evidence linked to him. So the first man went into the forest where the Buddha was. And then he was surprised to see the Buddha sitting there waiting for him. He got a shock. He thought the Buddha must know what he's coming to do. So he threw away his weapons and confessed to the Buddha. He said, I got no intention to kill you, but I have been ordered to do so. So the Buddha said, never mind. You sit down, I will teach you the Dhamma. So the Buddha taught him the Dhamma and he attained stream entry. Then the Buddha said, you don't go back by that road. 2 men are waiting for you. You run away somewhere. Then the 2 men waited and they could not wait anymore. They came looking for him. Similarly, they came to where the Buddha was. And they were also surprised the Buddha was waiting for them. And then similarly, they threw away their weapons and bowed to the Buddha. The Buddha said, sit down, I'll teach you the Dhamma. Buddha taught them the Dhamma, they also attained stream entry. 4 came, also attained. 8 came, also attained. 16 came, also attained. You see, such people can attain stream entry, I think it should be better, isn't it? So it's possible for you. So this again very evident. Then there was another time where the Buddha converted 1,000 jatilas, matted hair ascetics. The Buddha initially, when he started to gather disciples, he looked for those people who had attained jhana. So these jatilas, they practiced jhana, even though they had wrong view. But because they practiced jhana, some of them had already attained psychic powers. So when they attained psychic powers, their ego rose. So the Buddha knew it's not easy to teach them. So the Buddha went to stay with them for several weeks and showed psychic powers to them. Over time, then they came to realize the Buddha's psychic powers are much better than them. For example, one morning, the leader, Kassapa, out of respect for the Buddha, he went to invite the Buddha for the breakfast. The Buddha said, "You go first, I'll see you at the dining hall." So he went. When he arrived at the dining hall, he saw the Buddha seated there, waiting for him. And the Buddha was holding a flower and offered it to him. I looked at this flower, I had never seen this type of flower before. The Buddha said, "I just went to the Tavatimsa heaven and got this flower for you." He was shocked, so fast. So because of this, over time, all of them had great respect for the Buddha. So when the Buddha knew that the time was right, the Buddha told him, "Kassapa, you keep thinking you're an Arahant, but you are not an Arahant." This was like a slap in his face. Nobody dared to challenge him like that. People thought he was an Arahant, and he also believed that he was an Arahant. So he knew the Buddha's meaning. He bowed to the Buddha and asked to be a disciple of the Buddha. So the Buddha accepted him and he shaved off his hair. You know, these matted hair ascetics, they keep their hair very long and put in a bundle, like my grandmother used to do, nonya. So the long hair threw into the river. The hair floated down. His other disciples downstream, when they saw the hair, they got a shock. They thought somebody killed their teacher. They ran and looked for him. Then they found him, bald-headed, and knew that he became a disciple of the Buddha. So they asked him whether it's better, and he said it's better. So all 999 also shaved off their hair and became disciples of the Buddha. After that, the Buddha taught them just one sutta, Adita Pariyaya Sutta, the fire discourse, because they like to pray to fire. A lot of Hindus like to pray to fire, even up to now. And it's what the Tibetans also do. That's why they kung for make offerings to the fire. So when the Buddhas talk about the fire discourse, basically like the world is on fire. What fire? Fire of greed, hatred and delusion. So slowly as the Buddha explained this discourse, they became enlightened. 1,000, just hearing one discourse only, became enlightened. So you see the power of listening to the true Dhamma. There are many cases like this. So after this, the Buddha brought these 1,000 Arahants to Rajagaha. Because before the Buddha was enlightened, he passed through Rajagaha. King Bimbisara saw him, was very impressed by him, and found out that he also comes from the royal family, the warrior caste. So King Bimbisara asked him to stay in Rajagaha. He would support him all his life. But the Buddha was not looking for offerings. The Buddha was looking for enlightenment. He didn't want somebody to be attached to him. So the Buddha left. But then the King Bimbisara asked him to promise that if he attains enlightenment, to come back and teach them. That's why he came back with the 1,000 Arahants. So King Bimbisara was very happy. Threw a big lunch dana for him and asked all the people of Rajagaha to come and see the Arahants, because it's a rare sight to see Arahants. So according to the Vinaya books and the suttas, 120,000 people came to see the Buddha. After the meal, the Buddha gave a discourse basically on the 4 Aryan truths, and all 120,000 attained stream entry. They're not scientists or engineers or doctors and all that, no. As just old aunties and uncles. So it's not so difficult. Another occasion, a group of 80,000 people, they heard about the Buddha and they came to see the Buddha. First time. And the Buddha discoursed to them also on the four Aryan truths. Also all 80,000 attained. And then many individual cases in the suttas and the Vinaya. So it shows it's not that difficult for lay people to attain stream entry. The important thing is you have to listen to the right Dhamma. The Yen Shi Fo Chiao, the earliest 5 Nikayas in the Pali Suttas, Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Sangyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and Khuddaka Nikaya. I have spoken on these 5 Nikayas in English, all 5 Nikayas over the years, from 1997 until 2015. And in Hokkien, I've spoken on 4 Nikayas. Yesterday I brought the SD cards, today I didn't bring. But tomorrow night when I give a talk in NDR, if people want, you can go there and get it from me. Or you can look up YouTube, you can get them. So, there are some people, they say that during the Buddha's time is different. When the Buddha taught the Dhamma, because of his psychic powers, people attain stream entry. But now they say mana boleh. But it's not true. Why? Because there's evidence in the Vinaya books. The 2 main disciples of the Buddha were Sariputta and Moggallana. And they used to be external sect ascetics. I think their teacher was Sanjiva. So one day, Sariputta, at that time was called Upatissa. He was walking on alms round. And then he met Asaji, also going on alms round. Asaji was one of the earliest 5 Arahant disciples of the Buddha. So when he saw Asaji, the Arahant, he was very impressed because being an Arahant, his face was different, very bright and very serene, and nowadays they say awesome. So Venerable Sariputta went up to him and asked him, Bhante, who is your teacher and what does he teach? And then Venerable Asaji said, friend, I've just become a monk under my teacher recently only. And I know very little, very little Dhamma. And then Venerable Sariputta said, it doesn't matter whether it's little or much. Please tell me, in essence, what your teacher taught. So he said, my teacher taught, all Dhammas arise from conditions, all Dhammas cease from conditions. 诸法因缘生，诸法因缘灭. Yeah. So Venerable Sariputta, being such an intelligent person, realized it means that everything in the world arises from conditions. It was not suddenly created by somebody. It arose from conditions and will cease from conditions. And then he attained stream entry. So he found out from the Arahant where the Buddha was and all that, and then thanked the Venerable Asaji and he left. Went to look for his friend. Then Moggallana, Venerable Moggallana saw him and he explained to Venerable Moggallana what transpired. And Venerable Moggallana, just hearing the same words, also attained stream entry. So you see these 2 cases. Venerable Sariputta did not hear the Dhamma from the Buddha. He heard it from an Arahant and attained stream entry. Yeah, and it's not exactly the words of the Buddha also. The meaning is the same as the Buddha's teaching. Now in the case of Moggallana, he did not even hear it from an Arahant. He heard it from a new stream enterer. So you hear it from a new stream enterer, the important thing is the right Dhamma. Also can become a stream enterer. Yeah. So it's not true, only during the Buddha's time. You listen to the Buddha, you can attain. Any time you can attain. As long as you listen to the true Dhamma, the 5 Nikayas. Yeah. So after a person attains right view, enters the stream, it takes some time, and then the wisdom matures and he attains fruit. When he attains fruit, there are 4 characteristics of a Sotapanna. He has unshakable faith in the Buddha, unshakable faith in the Dhamma, unshakable faith in the Sangha, and he has Aryan Sila. What is Aryan Sila? Is it the 5 precepts? It is not. Is it the 8 precepts? It is not. Is it the 227 precepts? It is not. The Aryan Sila is found in the Aryan Eightfold Path. There are 3 factors, namely right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right speech has 4 precepts: not to lie, not to engage in divisive speech. That means you hear A talking bad about B, you don't go and tell B, last night A said this and that, causing them to quarrel. The 3rd precept is not to engage in coarse or vulgar speech, foul mouth. The 4th precept is not to engage in idle gossip. And then right action consists of 3 precepts: not to kill, not to take what is not given, it means not to steal, and then not to engage in sexual misconduct. Right livelihood is covered by these 2. If you have right speech and right action, you will have right livelihood. So you see from these 3 factors, it is only 7 precepts. These 7 precepts is the earliest precepts found in the suttas. But later, one of the monk's disciples got mabok, chui. Because of drinking liquor, he became intoxicated. Then after that, the Buddha made the drinking precept. So if you drink a little bit, not too bad. You can still become like Sarakani or Sotapanna. So it is said, let me continue. Okay, a Sotapanna also has 7 lives left, maximum. There are some Sotapanna, 1 lifetime they enter Nibbana. Some after 2 or 3 lifetimes. The maximum is 7 lifetimes, that person will enter Nibbana. Nibbana is eternal bliss. Nibbana paramang sukhang. The highest bliss is Nibbana. So, 7 lives. So because of that, the Buddha said, once you enter the stream, the suffering that is left is negligible compared to a putujana, an ordinary worldling. An ordinary worldling will go round the cycle of rebirth endlessly. In that long cycle of rebirth, he will fall into the ghost realm countless times, in the animal realm countless times, into hell countless times. Whereas for a Sotapanna, even if he comes back, he will never be reborn in the 3 woeful planes. He will only be reborn as a human and as a Deva or Devi. And when he comes back as a human or Deva or Devi, he has great blessings. He has 4 characteristics called Ayu, Vano, Sukhang, Balang. Ayu is long life, Vano is beauty, Sukhang is happy, always happy. And 4th is Balang. Balang is fame and power. So it is so good to be an Arya. The Buddha said even attaining stream entry is better than becoming the king of the whole world. Even better than becoming a Deva or a Devi. Because you are secure already, safe from the 3 woeful realms of rebirth. In the Samyutta Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya 43, it is said, after a person attains right view, that means you have attained first path or first fruit, 5 conditions are needed. You need to practice 5 other factors before you attain liberation. And what are these 5 factors? 1 is Sila. 1 is Dhamma Savana. Sila is precepts. Dhamma Savana is listening to the Dhamma. 3rd one is Dhamma Sakacha, discussion of the Dhamma. And then Samatha. Samatha is meditation to attain the jhanas. Vipassana is contemplation. Contemplation is what you do in everyday life, practicing right effort and right mindfulness. the 6 and 7 factors of the Aryan Eightfold Path. Samatha is the 8th factor. So you see, these 5 factors needed for final liberation. One is Sila. Sila you will get as a result of right view. Once you have right view, you will naturally keep your precepts. So, second one is Dhamma Savana, listening to the Dhamma. Third one is Dhamma Sakacha, discussion of the Dhamma, and then meditation and contemplation. So you see, even just to attain right view, you need to listen to the Dhamma. And after you attain right view, if you want to be an Arahant, you still have to need to listen to the Dhamma. So you see, the Dhamma is so important. Some people don't realize, they don't want to listen to the suttas. So, I think that's all I need to say for now. Invite questions.
If you have any questions, do raise your hands. I can pass the mic to you. Thank you, Bhante, for the Dhamma talk. I think I want to maybe, how to say, just now Bhante saying about the meditation and listening to the Dhamma. And we do understand that Buddha teaches about Eightfold Path, from speech, Sila, Samadhi, and Prajna. About the meditation, if somebody meditate, whether he listens to the Dhamma or not, but by doing meditation, does it mean that he actually practices the Dhamma? One. The second one is, if you see what the meditation, when we meditate, actually we practice the nearly full Eightfold Path. Yeah, by meditation we are doing right concentration, right mindfulness, which is the Samadhi path, and we do have the right view and right understanding. Because by doing meditation, what we do is we understand if somebody use the rising or falling of the abdomen, or somebody using the breath, so he understands, he knows it, and from there we can have a right understanding and a right view. So does it mean that it nearly fulfill the whole Eightfold Path? And it might also lead to so-called enlightenment. Of course, we do not say that listening to Dhamma is not important, or it is important, but maybe by doing the meditation, and it might sharpen the understanding of the Dhamma itself, even without literally listening to the Dhamma itself. Thank you.
So your question is whether just by meditation you fulfill the Aryan Eightfold Path, yeah? Unfortunately you don't, because we find before the Buddha was enlightened, we had many yogis in India who were very sincere in meditating, and they practiced meditation so hard. Many of them attained psychic powers, but you could not find an Arya at that time. Cannot find a Sotapanna, cannot find a Sakadagamin, Anagamin or Arahant. Just by meditation, you clear your mind, you will become intelligent. But if you don't listen to the true Dhamma of the Buddha, you cannot become an Arya. Now, even listening to the Dhamma, you need to have a clear mind. You need to have a mind that can focus. That's why the two conditions for right view and stream entry is listening to the true Dhamma and focus attention. So if you are a person with a scatterbrained person, you cannot focus your mind. You won't be able to understand the Dhamma. So in the suttas, the Buddha said, "Let an intelligent man come to me, honest and straightforward. I will teach him the Dhamma." So you got to be intelligent. If you are not intelligent, honest and straightforward, you don't have the blessings enough to become a Sotapanna. That's why the Buddha put right view in the beginning of the Aryan Eightfold Path. He did not put meditation. But meditation, if you practice samatha meditation, it helps to train your mind to focus. If you started off as a scattered brain, and then you keep meditating, you are able to focus your mind, and then when you listen to the Dhamma, you can understand. So, meditation helps, but it is not the essential factor. In the Anguttara Nikaya, Sutta 3.86 and also 9.12, it is said, when you practice the Aryan Eightfold Path, you are perfecting three things: Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Moral precepts, concentration and wisdom. And it is said, a Sotapanna and a Sakadagamin has perfect Sila. In other words, the 7 precepts. An Anagamin has perfect Sila and perfect Samadhi. Perfect Samadhi is the 4 jhanas. Yeah. So an Anagamin, to become an Anagamin, the condition is you must have the 4 jhanas. And an Arahant has 3 Sila, Samadhi and Panya. Perfect Sila, Samadhi and Panya. So an Arahant also must have 4 jhanas before he can become an Arahant. Now concerning Sotapanna and Sakadagamin, there are some monks say that to become a Sotapanna, you need the first jhana. But there is a sutta which contradicts this. Okay. This sutta, there's only one sutta that says very clearly that a Sotapanna does not need any jhana. This is Samyutta Nikaya 55.40. I forgot to mention just now. In this sutta, 55.40, the Buddha talked about 2 types of Sotapanna. One is the diligent Sotapanna, one is the negligent Sotapanna. The diligent Sotapanna is after he has become a Sotapanna, he makes further effort to attain jhana. He struggles day and night to attain jhana. That's the diligent Sotapanna. The negligent Sotapanna is after he has attained Sotapanna, he's a bit lazy. He doesn't strive to attain the jhanas. So this sutta shows very clearly that a Sotapanna does not need any jhana. But however, the Sakadagamin, although he does not have perfect samadhi, which is 4 jhanas, he needs at least the first or the second or the third jhana. Because the Sakadagamin has reduced greed, hatred and delusion. Greed, hatred and delusion is part of the 5 hindrances. And the only way to suppress the 5 hindrances is samadhi. So, to become a Sakadagamin, second fruit, you need at least 1, 2 or 3 jhanas. Sotapanna, definitely you don't need any jhana. You need to be intelligent, you need to hear the true Dhamma, and you need to have focused attention when you listen. Okay? So the stress is on listening to the Dhamma. Meditation is an accessory, it helps. Just like it helps not to eat too much. Eat too much and then you become very sleepy. And then your mind, you tend to have sloth and torpor.
Any second question from the floor?
1 minute now. Brother K. That's Brother K. Taking some photos? Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I think last night in the talk, you also said that the jhanas, if you are diligent, Sotapanna, you want to achieve jhana. Then you said also there's different definition of jhanas. The jhana that defined in the suttas are different from the jhana defined in Abhidhamma. What are the essential differences between the sets of definitions?
The jhana in the suttas is different from the jhana in Visuddhimagga. Visuddhimagga is a book that was written 900 years after the Buddha's passing away. So certain things they say are correct, certain things they say are not correct. That's why I mentioned last night that the Buddha said in the Digha Nikaya, Sutta 29, that his teachings are perfect and complete. If you think you want to add to his words, you don't see his Dhamma, you don't have right view. If you think you want to subtract from his words, you also don't see his Dhamma, don't have right view. So what the Buddha is implying is that those monks who say more than what the Buddha said by writing later books, in Malay we say cakap banyak, then they don't have right view, they are not Arya. So in the suttas we find Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 111, where the Buddha talked about Venerable Sariputta attaining the different jhanas. Then the Buddha said that when Venerable Sariputta attains the first jhana, he is extremely mindful. Whatever feelings arise, for example, delight, happiness, he is aware of it. If it still continues, he is aware of it. If it goes away, also he is aware of it. Whatever perceptions arise, he is aware. They stay, he is aware. They go away, he is aware, etc. So, when a person attains the jhanas, he is very, very mindful. Even more so, in the fourth jhana, third and fourth jhana, it is mentioned that the monk is very mindful, especially in the fourth jhana. The Buddha said, when a person attains the fourth jhana, he has perfect purity of sati and upeka. Perfect purity, parisuddhi, perfect purity of mindfulness. He's so mindful that after he comes out of the fourth jhana, a person with the fourth jhana can remember his past lives. 1 life, 10 lives, 100 lives, 1,000 lives, hundreds and thousands of lives he can remember. His mind is not a blur mind like most of us. So, it is a characteristic of the jhanas that you are never more mindful than when you are in the jhana. Unfortunately, some monks, they don't understand, like the Sayadaw U Pandita, in his book, In This Very Life, he said, what's the use of jhana? There is no mindfulness when you are in jhana. Exactly what he said in this book. Maybe he's talking about some other jhana. So the jhana in Visuddhimagga is quite different. They are focusing on the light. So when they focus on the light, they attain a state of concentration. We don't argue that it is concentration, but they are only aware of the light. They are not aware of changing feelings. They are not aware of changing perceptions, etc. And they don't have the 5 jhana factors. They are not aware of the 5 jhana factors when they are in the jhana, in the first jhana. After they withdraw from that state, then they contemplate their heart, and then they say, oh, just now when I was in that state, I had the 5 jhana factors. But that is an afterthought. Sorry, I have to be very blunt. Say again. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, you are very aware of those 5 factors. It's very unfortunate. There are some monks. There's one monk, also another famous monk. He said, the jhanas are not the Buddha's teachings. The jhanas are external sect teachings. Because some of these monks, they're so caught up with the Abhidhamma, they think the Abhidhamma is the highest Dhamma. They don't bother to study the suttas. So it's very unfortunate you find this view in some Theravada monks. It's the same as Mahayana. They look down on the Pali Sutta. They say Xiao Cheng.
Slightly related to what Bhante has just mentioned, there's a question about whether Abhidhamma is the teachings of the Buddha and whether as a Buddhist we should study Abhidhamma. They have made investigation, some scholar monks, and they know that this Abhidhamma was created later. There was a time when Buddhism broke into
many schools, many sects. During Emperor Asoka's time, I think there were about 20 sects. And according to these historians, like for example Akira Hirakawa, the professor of Buddhism in Tokyo University, he has since passed away. He said that the different sects, they had their own Abhidhamma. Every school got their own Abhidhamma. Differing views. So now it seems we have left with two. One is our Theravada, I think, and another one is Avastivadin. So you find like now our Theravada monks follow the Abhidhamma. There are 7 books. Out of these 7 books, the earliest 3, the first 3, they don't contradict the Buddha. They don't say more than what the Buddha said. But the later 3 or 4 books, they added a lot of things. Kalapa, Bhavanga, Javana, Patisandhi Citta, Chuti Citta, all these things that the Buddha never spoke. This is one of the characteristics of later writings. They say more than what the Buddha said. They don't realize the Buddha said his teachings are perfect and complete. You don't need to add to his words. You cannot make it more perfect. You cannot make it more complete. In other words also, our Buddha Gautama is the best Buddha you can find. Any other Buddha can only equal our Buddha Gautama. You cannot surpass our Buddha Gautama. Because our Buddha Gautama's teachings in the 5 Nikayas are complete, perfect. So that's why you see, like for in Mahayana, the Buddha taught about 6 consciousness, 6 types of consciousness. In the Mahayana, they talk about 7 and 8 consciousness, alaya consciousness, and what's the other one I forgot. So saying a lot of things that the Buddha never said. So for example, one of the founders of Mahayana Buddhism is Nagarjuna. They call him Longsu Pusa. In his biography, he wrote a lot of, he's one of the scholar monks who wrote a lot. So people ask him, how come, so many things you now say it was not there before? You know what he said? He said the Buddha did not explain many things, therefore he thought it's duty to explain many things. He wants to be smarter than the Buddha. Any other thing?
One more.
Is the Jinggang Jing referred to the Diamond Sutra? Jinggang Jing, which is taught in the Mahayana, or we tested very often in Mahayana. Are these in any of the Nikayas?
Jinggang Jing and Xin Jing, Heart Sutra, are 2 Mahayana sutras which are quite close to Theravada teachings. For example, in our Theravada teachings, the Buddha said, after the Buddha has entered Parinibbana, you never see him again. You never hear his voice. You can't touch him anymore. Because his 6 consciousness has disappeared. The Jinggang Jing also says the same thing. But you find, for example, in the Tichang Wang Pusa Jing, Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra, it is said that when the Buddha started to teach the Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra, millions and millions of Buddhas came. They've already entered Nibbana, how can they come back again? So it contradicts, even Mahayana Sutras contradict each other.
Maybe I just take one question here first. There's a question about what does the Buddha teach about the last thought movement and the intermediate state, or some people say it is Bardo state.
The last thought moment, you see, there are some monks who say when a person is dying, you have to make him remember all the good things. And for example, there are some even say if they chant Amitabha, and remember Amitabha, they will go to the Pure Land. But then, in the original Theravada teachings, when a person is dying, the 6 senses close one by one. So after some time, the five senses close, excepting the mind, and the doctor examines the person. He finds that the breathing has stopped, and the pulse, the heart has stopped. So the Buddha says that person has died. But the Buddha says that person has not died until three things stop. One is the vital energy, in Chinese we call the qi. And then the other one is the consciousness. The third one is the body heat. So when the doctor says the person has died, he has not really died if his body is still warm. It takes maybe 4 or 5 hours for the body to cool down, and then that person really dies. So in these 4 or 5 hours, that person is dreaming. And what is he dreaming? What is he thinking of? It is his normal frequency, his normal everyday thoughts. That is why it is very important for us to practice vipassana, right effort and right mindfulness. And the motive of practicing these two, right effort and right mindfulness, is to get rid of unwholesome states and to develop wholesome states. Because the Buddha says, if you want to go to heaven, you got to have wholesome states that bring you up. If you have unwholesome states, it brings you down to the three woeful planes of rebirth. So we have to get rid of unwholesome states like greed and hatred, arrogance, selfishness, etc. And we have to develop wholesome states like kindness, compassion, humility, having a big heart, generosity, etc. So this is what is called Xiu Xing cultivation. Xiu Xing Wei. Cultivation is cultivation of conduct, of our character. Because our character determines the soul inside us. Some monks say that there is no soul, but I believe there is a soul. They say there is no soul because they don't understand the real meaning of soul. The soul in the Oxford Dictionary says the soul is the spiritual part of man, often assumed to be permanent. It's not necessary to be permanent. Only the Christians and the Muslims say that it is permanent. The Buddhist soul is not permanent. We were spirit before we entered the womb. And then we entered the womb, and after entering the egg started to grow. So this flesh body is a shell. When this body becomes old and dies, we will leave this body and take rebirth. So in the suttas, the Buddha said that when a being takes rebirth in the womb, there is this being that enters the womb. But later books, Abhidhamma say there's nothing that enters the womb, because they don't believe in the soul. And also in the suttas, it is said, if a person's karma is so bad that he's destined for hell, the hell beings will come up and drag him down to hell. What is it they're dragging? They're not dragging his corpse. They're dragging his soul down to hell. So we find actually only humans and animals have the flesh body. Heavenly beings, ghosts, and hell beings do not have a flesh body. They have a spiritual body. But this spiritual body is also 5 aggregates. This only thing is fine, so we cannot see with our flesh eye. So, if a person is going for rebirth in the womb, first we start with heaven. If a person is going to be reborn in heaven, after he dies, sorry, that was the second question. Let me go back to the first question. The first question was, what was the first question? Last thought moment. Okay. So, this, when the doctor says that this person has died, so there's another 4 or 5 hours where the mind is still working. And that determines his rebirth. Not the thought just before death. Before clinic, that is clinical death. When the doctor says he has died, that is clinical death. So after that, another 4 or 5 hours, that thinking, that is the normal frequency his normal mind. There's one lady who told me that the mother died of cancer. When she died, she was in great pain. So the face was contorted in pain. 1 hour, and then after that, the doctor said she died. 1 hour later, the daughter went to see her. The face was so happy, so clear. I mean, she was thinking of good thoughts. And because she was thinking of good thoughts, she will probably go to a good rebirth. So there is another devotee who told me the auntie had a very nasty character, full of hatred and all that, grudge and all that. 2 days before she died, the Dracula teeth came out so long. The children got a shock. Could not cover the Dracula teeth. 2 days later when she died, the teeth disappeared. It means the soul is coming out of the body. So they start to see. And it's not surprising that there are some people, just 2 or 3 days before they die, you see their face change. If they are going to the ghost realm, the face will change into a ghost. One young man told me the mother was dying of cancer. Just a few days before she died, the face changed so much, he got frightened. So our character is very important, our everyday mind. That's why you have to still sing every day. Don't be lazy. So the second question was...
The second question, Bhante, is about intermediate state or Bhante state.
Okay. If a person is going to be reborn in heaven, it's immediate. There's some people who remember their past life. It seems a heavenly chariot coming to fetch them to heaven. Then if they are reborn as a human, once they come out of the body, it seems there are some people who remember their past life. They have an intermediate body which is a few inches high. Then they go around, they don't know where they are supposed to go. There's a case in a book, a person who remembered, came out of the body, then he was wandering around for a few days. And one day he saw the sister's maid going to the market to buy something and coming back with the basket. He jumped into the basket and was reborn as the sister's son. So, for human birth, you have to wait. Even the sutta says so. The sutta says that for rebirth in the womb, there must be 3 conditions. First, the mother and the father must come together. Secondly, the mother must be in the right season. And thirdly, once the egg is fertilized, then there is this being waiting to be reborn. In the sutta, it's called a Gandhava, waiting to reborn. Then he will enter the womb, and enter the womb and the egg, and then the egg will start to grow. And then rebirth as a ghost is also instantaneous. Even before dying, that person already changed into a ghost. And then rebirth as an animal also have to wait. Either have to wait to go into the womb or wait to go into the egg. And then a hell being, if you are reborn in hell, also immediate, because the hell beings will come and drag that soul down to hell. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante, for your talk. So the message is quite clear. We can attain Sotapanna as lay people. What about all the way, Bhante, to liberation around?
Just now I mentioned after right view, after attaining Sotapanna, you need 5 other conditions. Still practice your sila, listen to Dhamma, discussion of the Dhamma, practice samatha meditation, and practice vipassana in everyday life. Right effort and right mindfulness.
Can we do that as a layperson? I mean, is it possible?
It's difficult, especially for laypersons to attain jhana. Even for monks, it's difficult to attain jhana. In the description of the first jhana, the Buddha said, aloof from sensual desires, aloof from unwholesome states. The monk enters and abides in the first jhana. So you have to let go of sensual desires. You have to let go of unwholesome states. You have to develop your character so that you don't have unwholesome states. Because if you don't have unwholesome states, you become a very happy person. One of the conditions for attaining jhana is you have to be a very happy person, not a troubled mind. People with troubled mind nowadays get depression, yeah. So you are very happy, yeah. Then when you meditate, your mind can calm down. So it's not easy. You have to let go of sensual desires and let go of unwholesome states. So I always encourage lay people, listen more to the suttas. Very good chance of attaining stream entry. If you want to meditate, the best time is early morning when you get up, and then meditate. For as long as you are comfortable. If you're sleepy, make a cup of coffee or something. And then when you come back from work, don't meditate because your body is exhausted, your mind is troubled. That's the time you listen to the Dhamma. Listen to the Dhamma. If you can't sleep, also listen to the Dhamma until you fall asleep.
Any more? One last question, maybe I take from you.
So, Bhante, you mentioned about during the Buddha's time, there are so many stream enterers by just listening to the Dhamma. But is it because they are parami and now, after 2,600 years, then our mind get more complicated with so many of these social media influences and all? Is it more difficult?
It is more difficult if you often go into the internet and play with the computer. Because you put too many things into your mind. And then when you meditate, you have to get rid of all these things. These things keep cropping up, isn't it? So that's why you have to let go. No? Without letting go, it's difficult. But of course, the condition is also you must be very intelligent. During the Buddha's time, they didn't have TV and internet and all these things. So it was easier in that sense. People were more straightforward, not so cunning like nowadays. Any more questions?
Oh, we can still ask one more. Okay. One more question from the floor. Anyone?
No more questions. Yeah.
Bhante, thank you for the talk. So I have a question. If let's say we are going to be born as Dewa or Devis, right? Even if at the time we probably become a stream enterer, then when we are reaching the heavenly realm, right? Are we still able to proceed to continue to practice? Are we able to meet up with the Dhamma over there?
It is said that once you have become an Arya, you won't regress. You won't fall back to be an ordinary Putujana. You will still be an Arya, and also you'll be like on autopilot. Like for example, a good example is our Buddha Gautama. He said, when the last Buddha came, Buddha Kassapa, he, after listening to the Dhamma, he became a monk under the Buddha Kassapa. And then after passing away, he was born in the Tusita heaven. And after that, he came down as Siddhartha Gautama. And then as Siddhartha Gautama, as a small boy, about 10 years old, he could attain the first jhana under the Jambu tree. Yeah. So if that is the case, that means he must have attained the first jhana under Buddha Kassapa. Yeah. So if he had attained the first jhana under the Buddha Kassapa and listened to the Dhamma, he would most probably have been a Sakadagamin, second fruit person. And the characteristic of a Sakadagamin is that he is a once returner, meaning coming back to the human existence one last time, and he must enter Nibbana. That is why when the Buddha came back as Siddhartha Gautama, he was born into a rich family, the warrior caste family. And he said his father was so rich that he had 3 mansions. One for the summer, one for the winter, one for the rains. And each season is 4 months. And during the rain season, he will be in one mansion, and there'll be a lot of slaves entertaining him. All women entertaining him, singing and dancing and all that. So, in spite of all that, such a good life, and the wife had just given birth to a son. He left all of them to become a monk. That's why I say he was on autopilot. It must have been a very difficult decision for him to leave the beloved family and go off to be a homeless beggar, sleep under the tree, under the rain and sun, beg for the food. So probably he didn't know why also, because at that time he could not remember his past life. He didn't know why also. He had just had to go off. So you can imagine after he left and stayed under the trees, when he thought of his family, probably the tears came down. But he just knew he had to go that way. So he strove until he attained enlightenment. Then he recollected his past lives. Then only he understood. So once you have become an Arya, you will be on autopilot. But when you go to the heavens, you won't strive. Because when you're a Deva there, you have 5 Devis following you. All your time is taken up by the Devis. Because you don't see suffering in the heaven. There's no incentive to strive. When you come down as a human being, life is short. You can get sick, you see old man, you see sick person and all that. So you can see dukkha. But Devas and Devis, they like to listen to the Dhamma, but they're not inclined to strive. That's why you don't find a Sangha in the heavens.
I think it is time already. But before that, would Bhante like to lead the sharing of merits?
I don't call it sharing of merits, I call it rejoicing, asking the Devas and Devis to rejoice with us. Because when we listen to the Dhamma, sometimes Devas and Devis will come to listen. You please recite after me. Ita vata cha'am hehi. Follow me. Ita vata cha'am hehi. Sambatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva. Sabbe buddha. Sabbe satta. Anumodantu. Sabba sampati. Siddhya. Sadhu. Okay.